Okay, so turn 5. Turn 5, definitely a turning point. In terms of allocations, whereas the Germans continued with what they had, the the Russians went up to 3 primaries and 4 secondaries. So that was quite a turnaround in numbers of formations that would activate. And again, the Russians actually got initiative. So the Russian formations went first. We actually started over in the west. You're currently looking at the east side of the formation, but that was the first formation to activate, was the 1st Guards Mech Corps. But over on this side, you can see it's a similar tale on both sides. As I suspected at the end of the last turn, that was perhaps the Axis high water mark. And you can kind of see here that it's sort of reinforced the case. So the fighting still happening around here. However, you will notice that Tiger unit that was in here and did such good work at the beginning of the game is now off the map. Another brutal Russian tank attack. Russians took casualties, but so did the Germans, and the Germans didn't have as many tanks as the Russians, so usual scenario. The infantry pulled back. You can see we kind of had to come around. Well, actually, we would be mixed probably in the next turn, without a doubt. Likewise, over here, this is 2nd Guards Mech. They've pushed back in again. We've got a situation again where the 3rd SS is cut off. We did, at the end of the last term, we managed to scramble a continued MSR by the use of these tracks. So originally the MSR wasn't missing, but by the time this turn came round, there wasn't much more we can do, because again, as you can see, units have actually pushed in here against 6th Panzer as well. I mean, 6th Panzer's been just stripped and pushed right back. The tanks have kind of gone to sit on that victory point, but it's kind of irrelevant. The Germans needed 4 of the victory points for victory, and they currently occupy 2. And the boot is definitely on the Russian foot, not on the German foot now. Nearly every Russian formation made progress. Certainly on this side, as I said, with these guys. Less so, obviously, with the infantry, but again, the infantry is just kind of standing its ground, and it's not that big of a problem at the moment. So I'll just move this around quickly. We might as well do the other view. Get that into there. Yeah. So again, this was where the original attack was. So 1st Mech Corps. I had huge plans of them sweeping back over here and again causing issues by making the HQ in this infantry retreat, but the attack failed miserably. It just was bang, and that was it. But over here we had great success. Again, they just pushed in around Felsegala. They've taken Felsegala back, pushed the Germans back. Certainly the Aufklärungs is a bit outclassed by some of the Russian armor down in that corner. And then in behind you can see Kampfgruppe Pape. It's continued its work on the 34th. We have allowed the 34th to pull back a little bit again. We've got a mixed situation kind of happening down in here. But the 34th has tried to recover itself. I think these two are just single steps that were brought back last time. This guy's probably not much better, maybe 2 steps. And that's the only one with the 3 regiments. Obviously, there's quite a few battalions off the map. But this kind of part of this was started by, which is a fabulous mechanic in this game, I have to say. I think the use of primary, secondaries, and spoiled attacks and reinforcement activations just adds a whole new dimension to the game, basically. It would be great to see it included in some other games. because essentially by dint of this guard's unit attacking these guys first, they were pushed instantly into the spoil box. So then, well, what do you do? So it kind of pushed the German into not being in that situation again. So you then lead with your next best formation, which was obviously 3rd SS. So 3rd SS had to take that turn. But then, of course, 2nd mech then activated and hit 6th Panzer, which puts 6th Panzer into that box. So both of those formations were activated as spoil formations. We did have a lot of formations actually this turn which didn't actually achieve anything. 80th up here just went straight to a straight fail. And I think there was at least one more, maybe even 2, that did the same. But for the defender, that's not such a problem. But for the Germans, it absolutely is. Obviously, 3rd SS, I think they were a -6. So I don't think they got to do anything positive. I think, again, their activation was basically to fail. So that kind of wraps it up in a way. Soviet victory. A little bit of a shame because I think, when I first saw this situation that had developed from a game with my buddy Mick. So thank you, Mick, for spending the time and learning a little bit about BCS. But once I saw that fall away, I think it's for me, it stresses the fact that the Panzer Corps needs to be used together. So I think the game almost allows you, or possibly almost encourages you to split them. But I think the 2 SS divisions plus 6 Panzer, when it gets in, you'd have to use them in one place. And even then, I think there is just so much Russian material. You kind of feel that you've only got those. Well, I think you've only got 4 turns, if I'm honest. I think you've got 4 turns to do it. And if you haven't done it in 4 turns, you're on the wrong side of it, because the Russians have then reacted and have their formations coming to be active, or more formations coming to be active, at which point you're going to be on the back foot. And this isn't early war. This is a time when there are many Russian formations, at least the equivalent of the German formations, and in some respects more powerful because there are more of them. But it was a fascinating game. I've wanted to play more of Panzer's Last Stand for a while, and I think it may be something for the future as well, that we might do a big game. But it was good to have the experience of this one in the 2 map Conrad 1.